Well, there's one thing that's for sure and for certain is that there's a big change afoot. That's for sure. Mm.
Yeah, there is, and I think your attitude is absolutely spot on. It's just accept what is. Okay,
Mm.
I think that's the term you used earlier in the
Mm.
conversation.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think that's important. Is accept what is, but I think not a but, an add-on to accept what is to honor human beings. A
Mm.
larger first pillar, uh, definitely, and it's what uh, the Lord Jesus Christ said to us as well.
Mm.
Number
Mm.
one, number one, love one another. Okay,
Mm. Mm.
and so it's always been there, and
It's sort of funny, isn't it? Because even like some of the teachings, like of Buddhism as well, like like the Buddha has been quoted, like that they have like the parables, and the story was is that this highly spiritual man approaches the Buddha and says, Buddha, is there a God? And he says, no, there's not. And then a couple of days later, this man who is very like, for the want of a better word, like an atheist, says, is there a God? And he says, yes, there is. and basically and basically the message is that like if you're trying to take a position, then you'll look for evidence to support your view. Whereas if you go in there with a completely open mind, and he often talks about the most powerful words, three words are I don't know. Because if you go in with the view of I don't know, then the default is you have an open mind. You're just trying to see what is, So,
yeah, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, interesting.
mm,
Yeah,
mm,
yeah.
mm. And I think that's probably one of the traps of being human is we're always trying to make meaning out of things, aren't we? And some things just don't have any meaning. Mm.
Well, our life should have meaning. I
Well,
think our life should have
well,
meaning.
well, well, maybe the term is we should make our lives meaningful.
Yeah, okay. You think there's a difference between those two phrases?
Well, I
Um,
think making your life meaningful is a life of action, whereas
okay.
does my life have meaning? Well, that's up to you. Mm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm. If you sit back and eat fast food every day and are embroiled in mainstream media and social media, then maybe your life doesn't have any meaning at all.
Okay, but let's say before you were born here,
Mm.
uh, do you think we sat together with whoever mattered, whoever sort of pushes the buttons, and discussed what we had to learn on Earth before we came down here, and said, okay, I think you're going to get into that family who are going to get divorced, and he is going to die early, and and so on, and you know and and they sort of you see a broad overview of things. And the reason you need this is that you need to deal with this karma, and you need to grow more in this area,
Mm.
whatever it is.
I
You
don't
don't
know
think
if I don't know. I mean, part of me sort of wonders about how preordained it is because I never. I've always had a view that having free will, like volition, puts you an environment where there are so many possibilities, but as you day by day, moment by moment make decisions, it steers you down different pathways, almost like a game of snakes and ladders. But in terms of the spectrum of what's possible, I think there's, and maybe that's where the multiple universe thing comes in too. Maybe, different decisions in different times, or even at the same time, the path could be so different. So I'm not 100% sure that it's all sort of preordained as such as that.
No, I don't think by any means it's preordained. Okay, and if you thought I meant that, no, I don't. But I think that you reincarnate to work out some of your karma. Okay?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and maybe other things too, because like part of Sadhguru's story, for example, that he tells is that it took him 3 lifetimes to achieve what he's achieved in terms of his position within yoga. So like the consecration of the Dharalinga and some of those other big iconic things which are sort of central to the strain of yoga that he's involved in. And they're sort of saying that that's part of his uniqueness, is that he's been an enlightened being in 3 consecutive lifetimes, focused on the same task.
Right.
Over 3 consecutive lifetimes. Whereas, for others of us who haven't reached that stage of awareness, yeah, you're right. The same stuff just keeps on showing up until we learn the lesson. So.
Yeah. So in that sense, that is like preordained. Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. Okay, and you're going to be given the freedom to choose.
Yeah.
And if you choose negatively, it's going to come up again. If not at this lifetime, another lifetime.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I really mean. And so you can probably see, a pattern when you're looking down from a pre-birth situation and looking down and thinking, okay, I really need to go through those tough times. I really must get to learn this lesson now. Okay. Or something.
When I was younger, very much like studying the Bible in the original languages and so on. Yeah. I'd sometimes have this sort of silly and maybe it wasn't, but I had this sort of fantasy, so to speak, where you'd have this like stadium full of angels, and they'd be looking down at you, and it's like, hooray, he's finally got it, or oh no, not again.
Yes. Yeah. I actually enjoyed the years of studying the Bible. I did it with a whole group of men. We all met at McDonald's, and because the one member was it was a franchise of McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
So we met there before he opened in the morning, before we all went to work. And we used to have McDonald's coffee. And that was fun. Okay. Yeah, my nature has been a devil's advocate too. So in a group like that, I piss people off, but they also enjoy it.
And it's sort of fascinating because those sort of group discussions can really highlight, like as a Bible study, can really highlight the importance of some of those teachings, can't they?
Yes.
Some of the phrases that people are just looking at and that, but when you sort of get into those sort of discussions, they tend to be quite revealing when you sort of get the group perspective.
Yeah, I agree.
Quite powerful, really.
Yeah. And I miss that social gathering. I spoke earlier about the brain and anger.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's quite a rare thing in this age that we live in now.